Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. In today's video, we continue north on US Highway 1, locally signed as South Dixie Highway. We begin at mile 132.5 as we enter Naranja, an unincorporated community whose name comes from the Spanish word for orange. Locals often say it like Naranja, and the name recalls the Grove era that once defined this part of the country. Naranja had 13,509 residents at the 2020 census. You'll feel the neighborhood scale right away along South Dixie Highway. Compact shopping plazas, family-run eateries, auto service bays, and small apartment clusters give the corridor a lived-in, everyday rhythm. West of the highway, Naranja Lakes adds mid- and high-density housing around lakes, with neighborhood streets feeding back toward US-1. Running parallel to us on the west side is the South Dade TransitWay, Miami-Dade's bus rapid transit corridor that mirrors US-1 for miles. As we pass cross streets like Southwest 264th Street, you'll find canopied stations with platforms set up for level boarding and off-board fare payment. Buses use dedicated lanes so they can slip past the stop-and-go traffic that's typical on South Dixie. For drivers who want to leave the car and ride into Dadeland or downtown connections, these stations are the easiest handoff points. If you break away from the highway here, Naranja Park is the local recreation hub, with ball fields, a pool in season, and youth programs that keep the place busy on afternoons and weekends. The nearby library branch supports community classes and maker-style events, so even for a quick leg stretch, there's a reason to pull off of US-1. Food options range from Cuban ventanitas and Salvadorian pupuserias to barbecue and seafood stands, and you'll see a steady mix of service businesses that cater to residents more than tourists. That's part of the charm of this stretch. It feels like a real neighborhood that just happens to sit on a major US highway. Continuing north, we roll into Princeton. Princeton is larger and more residential than Naranja, with a population of 39,308 according to the 2020 census. The community grew from a Florida East Coast Railway stop and expanded inland with subdivisions that filled in over the last 2 decades. US-1 remains the spine, while the Homestead extension of Florida's Turnpike runs inland to the east and carries regional traffic around the surface streets. Right along our route is Redland Market Village, a weekend magnet with a busy farmers market, flea market stalls, and a food court full of Latin American and Caribbean flavors. If you're traveling US-1 on a Saturday or Sunday, you'll notice the extra activity in roadside signs as you pass. Princetonian Park sits a bit east of the highway and offers a neighborhood green space for those who want a quieter stop. The TransitWay stays close to us here as well, with stations at major cross streets like Southwest 244th Street that tie into the same rapid bus corridor we saw in Naranja. As we keep rolling, the landscape shifts again and we enter Goulds. Goulds had 11,446 residents as of the 2020 census. The area began as a rail siding and packing house district along Old Dixie Highway, and you can still feel that linear railtown DNA and how things are laid out. US-1 handles the through traffic, while Old Dixie runs just to the west with older storefronts and side street businesses. 2 places within Goulds are worth calling out if you're exploring off the main line. First, Joe and Enid W. Demp's Park, known locally as Goulds Park, is a large county park east of US-1 with athletic facilities, community programs, and frequent league play. On weekends, parking lots fill up with families heading to games or events at the community center. Second, a short hop west of the highway brings you to Cawley Square Historic Village on Old Dixie Highway. This restored early 1900s railroad village has shady walkways under towering trees, small shops and cafes, and a steady calendar of events like art fairs, live music, holiday markets, and occasional car meets. It's one of the most atmospheric stops in South Dade and a reminder of how this corridor looked when the railroad was the backbone of daily life. Back on South Dixie Highway, you'll notice the TransitWay again at crossings like Southwest 232nd Street. Stations here serve commuters heading north in the morning and south in the evening, and they make it easy to pair a drive with a transit ride. Between signals, you'll still find neighborhood essentials, supermarkets, tire shops, local diners, and long-running storefront churches. The corridor blends working-day practicality with pockets of heritage that surface as you detour a block or 2 off the main road. We continue north past the last Goulds intersections, bringing us to mile 138.2 where we cross into South Miami Heights, our endpoint for this segment. We'll save that community for the next video. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below, share and follow us on social media, and join us for our next 504 road trip.